Welcome to Season 4, Episode 45 of the Family Travel Australia podcast. We are Paul, Katie and Jasper from the Feel Good family. Join us as we explore this great country, Australia, its people, places and cultures.
Yes, welcome to the Family Travel Podcast, where we share the latest in RV, industry news, road trip travel, camping, caravanning, where to go, what to see, what to do, and so much more.
Woohoo! And this week, our road trip is 800 kilometres as we say goodbye to Kalbarri and head south to the southwest corner of WA. We marvel at some natural wonders along the way, including the Pink Lake.
Wow.
And the Leaning Tree.
Awesome.
We camp off-grid at Milligan Island. And we spend a few nights enjoying a very unique farm stay at a winery. Oh, yeah. We also ride the train at Bustleton Jetty and we visit the world's largest dam mural.
How do we do all of this in 1 week?
I don't know. In the newsroom, we also cover off some positive new regulations that are coming to the RV industry here in Australia. Lots to talk about. Let's get into it.
Holy dooly, it's going to be another jam-packed episode full of natural beauty this week, I have to say.
I tell you what, we will always direct you back to our Feel Good Family YouTube channel if you love seeing the pictures that go with all of this banter that we're talking about.
Especially the drone shots. I mean, WA just continues to blow us away with how spectacular the coastline is, and that is exactly what happens this week. There are some amazing natural landmarks that we take in.
Yeah, look, we've been told through our 2 years on the road, the best is in the West.
Yes.
The best is in the West.
Yes,
you know.
we have.
And I guess until you're actually over here and you're checking it out, can you really go, okay, I know what people are talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still a Queenslander though.
I think we always will be through and through.
All right, so we are going to leave Kalbarri and we're heading a fairly short drive day, a couple of hundred clicks, down to Milligan Island, not Gilligan's Island.
No, but I tell you what, you can't go to Milligan Island without having the theme song of Gilligan's Island over and over and over in your head. We certainly did. We actually were tipped off by this little campsite from our neighbour at Kalbarri, who said they were headed in that direction. We thought, oh, well, check it out. I am so glad that we stopped and pulled in. And look, to be honest, it was very easy to access.
Do you know what? I think in this travelling lifestyle, we always make the effort to say hi to our neighbours, whether that's at a free camp or national park or a paid caravan site. There's a few reasons for that. One is that now you've got a buddy if something goes wrong or you don't have the tool. Right? And secondly is because people will always have some highlights or somewhere to share with you that they loved during their travels.
Oh, look, and isn't that word of mouth, that face-to-face with somebody, so much better than looking up on an app and trying to decide whether you're going to stop in at this place or not?
Yeah, especially when the reviews can be based on somebody's mood opposed to really the whole experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so Milligan Island, $20 a night, completely self-contained. There are bathrooms there though, and there is a host camp guide or ranger that stays on site. There must be at least 40 sites.
Yes, and very reminiscent of the campgrounds within Cape Range National Park.
Very similar, yes. The difference really, I felt, was the whiteness of the dunes. We've never seen dunes, sand, so white. It must have a really high silica content because that's the only time we've ever seen anything so white is really if that's there. So amazing.
It is amazing, and you're greeted with those sand dunes as you drive in. Now, it is a short drive on an unsealed road, only a couple of kilometres into the campground.
The sign said 2.3 kilometres.
There you go.
It's the most precise sign I've seen.
Yep, but very easy access. The road was in great condition when we were there, and you are greeted by these incredibly white sand dunes, which of course get you excited about, ooh, what is over those dunes.
Yeah, and then as you do actually make your way over the dunes, literally 150 metres very short, accessible walk, stunning location. Because of the sea kelp, there's parts of the ocean that look green, and then that incredible turquoise colour that we have talked about along this entire west coast of Oz. Just, a beautiful, relaxing, I think, place to visit. You could literally just take a couple of books, just hang out there, love it.
Yeah, it feels to me like it's still one of those little hidden gems. It's a locals getaway, and I'm so glad that we experienced that. And we were one night only, headed to Perth for our meetings. But as you say, Paul, it'd be a great stop to pull up stumps for a couple of weeks and really make the most of that location. Now, on the way from Kalbarri...
Yes, she's realised that I totally bypassed my notes because this was awesome.
If you are heading from Kalbarri, you have two options basically down into Perth, and we stuck to the coastal road, and for good reason. We wanted to stop in Hutt Lagoon for the most incredible natural wonder I think that we've seen on the road to date in terms of the colour. It was one of WA's famous salt lakes and bright pink.
Does anyone out there ever remember as a kid having Nesquik? That's, I think, what it was called, a strawberry flavoured milk.
Yes.
It's that colour. It is that vibrant. It is unbelievable. And I think although there are pink lakes around Australia, it's not unique for just this location. Because it is right alongside the main ocean, the contrast of the deep blue sea and the Nesquik pink lake of Hutt Lagoon is incredible.
Do you know what I loved? It was quite a hazy day when we were driving through, and you can see the pinkness, is that a word? The pinkness on the horizon as you are approaching for kilometres and kilometres. It's everywhere. It's in the air. It's really bizarre. And then as you're driving along beside the lake, you realise very quickly how milkshakey it actually is. It wasn't until Paul put the drone up, though, and got those shots from above with the sun shining directly down onto the lake that we really realised the depth of the colour of this lake. And it actually changes. Now, it's responsible for its colour from a carotenoid producing algae. So it is naturally forming this colour. They haven't done anything to it to make it this colour pink, but it changes depending on the time of day and the season, and it can be anything from a lilac-y purple colour through to very deep reds. I've even seen images of it in the real carrot orange colour. I mean, just incredible. A photographer's dream.
And apparently because of the high salinity as well, which adds to this whole algae producing colour.
Incredible. How amazing is nature? It is so worth stopping, and there are plenty of access areas to be able to do that. We pulled the caravan right up, and if you continue to follow the road around beside the lake, you can actually get right down onto the foreshore of the lake. I've seen lots of images of smaller Sprinter vans and VW vans pulling right up on the shore of the lake.
The sand is even pink.
It is amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it is worth a bit of a Google, Hutt Lagoon with a double T, because some of the aerial shots at different seasons just give you this unbelievable rainbow spectrum of colours that it changes. And then also the surrounding agricultural land adds to that and really makes the colour pop at different seasons. So I love that we got to see it, Nesquik pink.
Yes, absolutely
cool.
Amazing, and hard to believe that it is naturally forming.
Okay, so then to Milligan Island. I think it's called a camping node if you're searching for that. And then we leave there and we see the Leaning Tree, another unbelievable natural occurrence that we've never seen anywhere else.
No, and testament to WA's windy, always strong winds. Well, we thought it was just Blowvember, but we have heard from a lot of people in the comments of our YouTube channel that it's always windy in WA, and the trees agree. This tree was amazing. It was a river gum eucalypt.
Yeah.
that is obviously a very, very old tree, and very early on in its life cycle decided that those southerly winds were too much to bear, and I can totally understand that. And it leaned over, and it has been growing in a parallel position to the ground ever since.
It made me think about the people, the farmers in some of those old rice fields that you see, you know, those pictures in Japan and Vietnam and Bali and, you know, Indonesia, where they've been bent over for the majority of their life farming, and so then they can't stand up straight any longer. It kind of like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite amazing to pull in, and it is on private property, but what they have done to allow you to, again, you can pull your rig right up, get out. We took some beautiful drone footage of this incredible tree. I mean, just again, another amazing piece of work by Mother Nature.
Yeah, incredible. Okay, we continue on down to Perth. A quick pit stop there to catch up with some friends and family, and we then continue straight past because we, again, get tipped off from some other friends that also have a caravan and get around Oz, that a little farm stay is the best way to put it, was so unique that we had to visit, and the fact that it was a vineyard also piqued my interest.
Yeah, for sure. Look, if you've been watching our YouTube episodes or listening to our podcast, you know we love getting off the beaten track and finding
our wine. That's what I really thought you were going to say.
Well, we do. But finding those hidden gems and those local places that you could very easily miss on the tourist track. And Thomson Brook Estate is absolutely one of those places, but only an hour's drive from the city. I mean, perfect.
Amazing. And its locality, its little township that it's part of, is known as Donnybrook, also I think the apple capital of WA.
Yes, I think the very first Granny Smith apple tree was planted a long, 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 long time ago in Donnybrook.
1900, I think.
There you go. Yep.
Something like that. They love their apples. In fact, they have dedicated, it is Australia's largest free entry playground is in this very small township. I mean, there'd be maybe 1,500 people live here.
Oh, it's such a beautiful little country town.
And they have the largest playground. I mean, it is massive. It must be, I don't know, 500 metres square. And it's free entry, and it is called Apple Park.
Yes, and you and Jasper spent many hours enjoying that. Yeah, fantastic.
So good. They've started this with, I think, some community funding, and then they were able to get state funding, and then this year they actually received federal funding, millions and millions of dollars, to upgrade this park.
Incredible.
Yeah, and so it really, in a way, becomes a landmark and is drawing visitation to their little township because of the playground.
Absolutely. I can imagine if you were a Perth City local or even somewhere on the coast and you were having a children's party or get-together, this would be the place to come and have your party. So just fantastic, and such a quaint little town to drive through with beautiful coffee shops and couple of fantastic op shops that we frequented, and apples everywhere. The street lamps were apples, and there was apple characters on the side of the road. Look,
getting back to our farm stay on the vineyard, what is so unique about this particular farm stay is that it is free.
Free.
Yeah, hard to believe. So you can camp on their property. It's a private property, and in amongst the farm yards, I guess they're running probably about 30 or 40 sheep, and then they've got the vines over in one other paddock. And as long as you are fully self-contained, you can park here for free and then attend their afternoon daily wine tasting.
If you wish. And look, to be honest, I'm not sure that you'd come out and stay at Thomson Brook Estate if you weren't fond of a good drop. But amazingly, Pam and Terry, the owners, this is their retirement dream, and such an incredible, hard-working, genuine, salt of the earth, as you said, Paul, couple who have thrown open their property to the RV community because they want to share their passion, their retirement dream with other people. And there's no, you need to buy a bottle of wine. It's very much a come and join us if you like and taste our wines. And if you'd like to buy a bottle of wine, that is awesome, and they're very grateful for that. The wine tasting was fantastic, actually, and they are doing quite a selection of wines, and some of the bottles we brought home, the ports were fantastic.
Look, we stayed 3 nights and Katie purchased 3 bottles, and we think that would be appropriate.
I love that you said, Paul, it's like you're paying, between $15 and $28 per night for your camping fees, and you get a bottle of wine thrown in for free.
How good is that?
Yes.
Interestingly, most of the people that are currently going there are regulars. It's like they haven't told anyone about this place. And look, certainly anytime that we come to WA, we will be visiting and staying for a few nights. Another couple that we met there were staying for a week. So depending on how self-sufficient you are allowed to release or let go your grey water onto the lawns, which is fantastic.
Oh, and the grass was amazing, long and thick and lush. So that was a real treat too.
Talk about an entry statement for a private property for a farm like this. 2 perfect rows of the most scarlet red, size of your hand rose bushes that you have ever seen.
Running the entire length of the driveway in. It was spectacular, and they smelt amazing. I mean, Jasper and I had our noses embedded in the roses. They took up his whole face. They were so big, but they smelt spectacular. Look, a standout for me was spending time with Pam and Terry, who were crazy busy but so generous and giving with their time and happy to share their story and details about the process and how they hand pick the grapes and how they make their wines. I mean, they do everything on site here. They bottle, they label the bottles themselves.
Amazing.
They remember everybody, and their attention to the people who are staying with them, I think is one of the highlights for me. Pam knew everybody by name, greeted everybody by name. When we said to her when we first arrived, look, our very good friends Michelle and Wayne told us we need to come and stay with you, she stopped for a minute and she thought, and then she said, yes, that's right. We had Michelle and Wayne in not that long ago. She knew exactly who we were talking about. So I found that amazing for people who are so busy and consumed in their business and their passion that they're able to, not only open their doors but then have that interaction and memory of everybody who comes and stays.
I tell you, I'm blown away with the retirement dream that they've created and how busy and hard they are actually applying themselves.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Terry is like an old weathered book with all these amazing stories to share and some really good old-timey humour as well. Really appreciated their time.
Yeah, just gorgeous people. If you are looking for a beautiful location with wonderful hosts and, of course, some really good wine to enjoy of a night time.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is the place to be.
Look, Australia needs more of this model, we feel. It is thriving, alive and amazing in the US because we have watched quite a lot of that through a family that we follow over there, and it's called Harvest Host over there if you want to look that up. But an incredible program, membership program that is run over there. I do believe something similar is about to start in Australia. We can't wait to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a base, Donnybrook in this region was perfect, really, because the main reason for us to come to this region really was for this next part of our experience, and that was to visit Bustleton Jetty because they have the Bustleton Express that travels along this jetty out over the ocean. Almost 2 kilometres. In fact, it's the longest jetty, I think, in Australia currently. Was one of the longest in the Southern Hemisphere, or if not the longest in its day. And talk about choosing the most picture-perfect day. WA on days like this, you can understand why people say, oh, I came here for a holiday 40 years ago and we just never left.
Well, look, I have to be honest, when we drove into Bustleton, and it was an absolutely picture-perfect day with not a single breath of that WA wind, my first thought was this could be somewhere at some point, if we ever do decide to settle down, this could be a contender. And we've been to a lot of amazing places around Australia, and very rarely have we thought that. So Bustleton certainly turned it on for us that day. And look, we had to come here. We have a train enthusiast in our household. He absolutely loves his trains. We cannot go anywhere and miss a train experience that is in the local region.
What was fantastic about this experience was the parts that we didn't know about and that we didn't expect to experience. It started with, as always for us, and something we will continue to promote for as long as we do this, is that we went straight to the Visitor Information Centre. Do that every time.
Yeah.
Honestly, it opens your eyes and your world and improves your experience every time.
Absolutely.
And it's free.
This one was amazing too.
True.
Not only was it the traditional Vic, but it was also almost a mini museum housing the Ballarat steam engine, the oldest steam engine in Australia.
And again, that's something we just didn't know about or did we expect to encounter. As we walked through into, as you put it, this museum display and gallery, really,
yes.
very large, Jasper spots this beautiful old wooden-built steam and steel-built steam engine, and his jaw literally drops. You know, he just, and there's nothing better, is there? You know, when you're in the experience in the company of someone that is in awe of something, it does something to you, and particularly with kids, because they are just so raw with their emotion, and it truly, for us as parents, that is the best part about this, is getting to witness those moments in Jasper. I get goosebumps when I think about it.
Yeah, it was really special and really beautifully displayed. And again, from the point of view of having children, this was one of those spaces that catered for them, with lots of low displays and fun interactive things that Jasper just absolutely loved. And I mean, he didn't even know what was coming yet. We could have just walked into the Visitor Information Centre and he would have been happy. But then to be able to head back outside and up to the jetty and get ourselves some tickets to ride the little Bustleton Express, that does thankfully save your legs the 1.8 kilometres to the very end of the jetty. He was just in seventh heaven.
It's quite a good setup, actually. As you arrive to this jetty, there must have been half a dozen very passionate volunteers ready to meet and greet you. And as the train is really doing these loops and turning around and changing every hour, they're there, I mean, absolutely cleaning the entire train as you would expect now in, I guess, public open experiences. When you head into the beautiful little blue beach huts that are on the start of the jetty, the experience really starts there, which we love. We think that quite often experiences for visitors can be missed because of the start or the end. So they do that really well. You walk in, there's a beautiful gift store, big open windows that look from inside straight out over that turquoise blue ocean, and really friendly staff that offer you 2 different tickets. There's a joint ticket that includes the train return journey within an hour, and also an underwater observatory that is 9 metres below the surface of the water at the very end of the jetty. Now, we'd already made other plans for lunch and then what we're going to talk about next, the visit to Wellington Dam. So we didn't get to do the underwater experience, but gee, it looked fantastic. As a joint ticket, I think if you had that little bit more time, do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, something for us to do next time we return to Bustleton, which I know for a fact we absolutely will. The other way that you can access the jetty is just through a walking pass, which I think is just a couple of dollars, and you can walk out onto the jetty. And in fact, there was loads of people fishing off the jetty as well. The very end, probably 50 or so metres, 100 metres, is a protected sanctuary, of course, because that is where the aquarium is downstairs. So lots of fish there to view, but there was loads of people fishing off the jetty on the journey on the train down to the very end.
What was fantastic too is that I was able to and allowed to put my drone up and meant I had to walk back though. Follow the Bustleton Express, the Jetty Express, back with the drone and get some amazing shots of, the true length of this 1.8 kilometres or just over. So that was a wonderful part of the experience as well.
Yeah, look, and I don't think you have to have little ones in tow to really enjoy this. There were plenty of bigger, older kids on the train without children who were having an absolute fabulous time, again, on such a picture-perfect day.
The last thing I'll say about this particular train and this experience as far as the environment goes is that not only are you surrounded by a world-class environment, the seats are made from 30,000 recycled or post-consumer plastic bottles.
Yes.
The train is completely solar-powered. The community in Bustleton is completely geared toward environmental protection and improvement, and we love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful place, so good on them.
Yes, we will be back, Bustleton. Okay, from there we headed back toward Donnybrook and out through the rolling countryside, God's country as I referred to it, to a very unique dam wall. In fact, it is known as the largest dam mural in the world. It's at Wellington Dam. What an experience that was as a amazing visual experience.
Absolutely. And again, in our travels around this country, we have been very fortunate, privileged to take in some incredible artworks. I mean, the silo trails that cross over all of the states are just incredible, to marvel at the scale of these artworks that these mural artists can do. And then to come out to Wellington Dam and see, now I've pulled up the actual facts here. It is an 8,000 square metre mural that is believed to be the largest dam mural in the world. Okay, it's one of several that they've actually had painted throughout the local town of Collie, and that has its own mural trail, which would be fantastic to go back and visit. And the story behind the mural is what I really, really love. And I'll very quickly summarise, but the Australian artist Guido van Helten, who we have been fortunate enough to see some of his artworks on the silos throughout the country as well, he was chosen off the back of, I guess, his original application and submission of his previous works. And there was a shortlist from thousands of entries of artists all around the world. They shortlisted it down and they asked each of the shortlisted artists to submit, I guess, a mock-up of what they have planned to paint on the dam wall. And Guido didn't submit anything, and he said, absolutely not will I even come up with a concept until I've had the opportunity to speak with the local people who have lived in this region and get a feel for the region. And what I love is that his artwork is called Reflections, and it is 100% inspired by stories and images, photographs of the local people across the years. And it is absolutely amazing and breathtaking to stand on the viewing platform and take in the scope. It's hard to believe that somebody can actually paint on this medium, on the angle that it is, in the location that it is. And I believe he worked for months and months and months on end. He actually camped out there at the dam and spent, 10 hours a day abseiling down the dam wall to paint this incredible mural.
Nothing better than experiencing something like this where a person's passion has collided with their purpose, and then there it is right in front of you, and it's free.
Oh,
I love it.
Incredible. Yeah, absolutely a must if you are anywhere in this location. It is worth the drive out to take this in. It is just fantastic.
All right, plenty more to see and do around the southwest, of course. There's Margaret River, if you really want to get stuck into some good wines. And then, as you get around to Esperance and further down, incredible. Now, we realised very quickly that we're going to need a lot more time in WA than the 3 months that we planned. So stay tuned. We will be back for...
Ooh, yeah.
WA needs its own lap year. We've said this before.
It does. So we have something brewing.
Yes. Yes, that's true. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, my takeaway for this week is really back to Pam and Terry and this idea of not only adding value, to other people's lives, but providing something for free without anything in return or expectation. I just think that is got to assure your success, How do you be successful? Help someone else become successful, but their whole model is around giving first.
Yes,
I love it.
Absolutely. And they are succeeding.
Yeah.
Incredible.
We need more of it.
Yeah, definitely. And a really good takeaway, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into the newsroom. We need a little sound effect.
Oh, we do. You might have to figure out how to do that.
Leave that with me.
Okay.
This week we are talking about the positive new regulations. We've been following this kind of story over the last couple of months, but now there is approved regulations coming to the RV industry, not only for manufacturers but for importers of RV products into Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a deadline and there is new legislation as well, which is exciting. So July 2022, next year, is the cutoff for tougher compliance rules. And basically the Australian Caravan Industry Association is urging RV manufacturers and importers to get all of their bits and pieces in place before then. So what that means for consumers is, I guess, more certainty around the products that you are buying when it comes to new RVs, and knowing that those standards have been lifted to be compliant with the new legislation that is coming in place that is going to replace the existing Road Safety Act.
Great.
And all of the majors are expected to comply. There are a few little loopholes that I was reading about that they will work through with many of the smaller manufacturers who are only, I guess, manufacturing a very limited number of specialised.
Mum and dad,
exactly.
I guess, production facilities, yeah.
Yes, exactly. But it's really hoped that the new Act and the regulations will be successful in significantly improving the overall level of compliance. That's for safety and quality of the caravans sold in Australia. So good news for consumers. I am sure it is going to have a bit of an up and down process as these regulations come into play.
A corrugated journey.
Yes, and I'm sure there's a lot of work behind the scenes for the manufacturers to get all of their ducks in a row to be compliant in 6 months' time. So we'll continue to follow this story, I think.
Absolutely, and as the detail is provided, we get more detail. That will be really fantastic. I think the exciting part about this is as we sit here and we fast forward 5 years, 10 years, but even in that short term, that 5 years, I think there's going to be some incredible changes, particularly around energy, the way energy is supplied, the improvements into these new, and exciting technologies, the weight of vans, the weight of vehicles, how we tow them, it can only get better, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it sure is. And I really love too that this has been driven by the consumers. This has come about off the back of the complaints basically, and the years and years of things not being good enough or up to scratch. And so finally, we're moving to that space where it is going to be better regulated.
Awesome. All right, where are we up to now? Next week. Oh my gosh. Christmas. Can you see Christmas all around you?
Oh my goodness.
God, everywhere you turn. I tell you what, certainly in our household or our van here, the Christmas carols are a constant.
Oh, yes. Yes, they are, and we are well decorated. I mean, who else is reeling about the fact that it is Christmas time again this year? Has flown
Truly,
by.
yeah, truly has. So next week will be a bit of a Christmas special. We're also hoping to line up a special guest, a young family that we met recently on the road that have been now travelling for 13 months. They're about to wrap it up, but they had some really great stories, some great tips, a couple of kids there, and a schooling on the road as well, which is new for us in 2022.
Oh my gosh.
So that'll be great for us to really get some great tips, have a chat, hear about their experiences. That will be next week. I think that's it, isn't it? All right then. Well, for now, we'll say dream big, look after yourself, look after your family.
And happy trails.
Awesome.
Good one. Oh, so much amazingness in this week's episode.
Truly, yes. And next week, I think Christmas, some really good, delicious Christmas ideas for you to enjoy as well.
Awesome.
All right, have a great week. We'll see you then.
Thanks, guys. Bye. We are the Feel Good Family, an ordinary Aussie family that is travelling full-time around Australia. We knew there had to be a better way, so 2 years ago we made a plan, packed up our lives, sold everything we owned and made travel our new lifestyle. We've never even owned a tent, so totally green with our four-wheel drive and van in tow, we hit the road and are exploring this great country of ours, learning as we go and making the most of our time together. They say you only get 18 summers with your kids. Now doesn't that make you stop and think? Australia is the great southern land with the world's whitest sand, the world's largest rock, the world's oldest culture, and the world's cleanest air. We want to explore every corner of this great country. Join us each week as we bring you the best destinations, experiences, and Aussie characters that we can find. We hope this inspires you to take a step toward whatever your dream is, because if we can do it, you can too. A new destination every week, right here on YouTube.